Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are doing lovely. I'm excited to speak to you guys about the importance of meditation. What I'm going to be doing in this video is that I'm going to be going over some benefits of meditation, but as well as deconstructing the method and the science behind meditation. Okay, so about 5 to 6 years ago, I went to Thailand and I took a 10-day silent meditation course where we basically meditated for about 11 hours a day. There was no contact with any of my peers, no eye contact, no verbal communication. The instructor was just basically giving us instructions and leaving us for hours at a time to meditate. Now, this was more challenging than it sounds. You can imagine what it was like sitting down Indian style for about 11 hours a day. Putting aside the body aches for not being used to sitting down on the ground in that position, the boredom that I experienced, the frustration of sitting down and just not moving was astronomical, ladies and gents. I literally saw the the primate within me, okay? Maybe primate is not the word, right? We're not monkeys. But I saw the animal within myself. And what I mean is that I was sitting down in absolute silence in a beautiful lotus garden, ladies and gents. This is the epitome of a meditation garden. And about the third day, I was getting frustrated and I was yelling inside my head, saying, you know what? Fuck this. I want to stand up. I want to stretch my legs. My back hurts. My neck hurts. And I felt like a monkey in a cage, jumping everywhere hysterically. That's how I felt. And I had to talk to myself. I had to take a third person approach and talk to myself and say, Oscar, calm down. You're here to learn how to control this. I exhaled, I calmed down, and moments later I had my first breakthrough in the meditation, which was essentially a rose that I hallucinated. With my eyes closed, I saw the most beautiful rose I have ever seen. If you close your eyes and you rub your eyes, you're gonna see a bunch of colors. They're like purple, reddish, and I saw a beautiful rose form with those colors, and as I would breathe, the leaves would blow. And I was just mesmerized by this. And mind you, all of this was in my mind. How fascinating is it that the most beautiful flower, the most beautiful rose I have ever seen was through my own imagination, ladies and gents. And it's not necessarily the visualization that I got, it was the whole experience. It was the level of consciousness that I was in. It was the presence that I was in that made that whole experience. All right, so the technique, essentially. In Vipassana meditation, there is no sounds, okay? There are no visualizations or chanting or anything like that. Sure, those methods can be used to get you down into deeper states of consciousness. But this Vipassana meditation that Buddha used to reach enlightenment is all about pure silence. And essentially, the technique is quite simple. What you do is that you focus on sensations throughout the body. So they start you off by focusing on your breath. They tell you, focus on your breath. The idea is to reach that involuntary state of breathing, right? You don't control your breathing. You don't say in, out. No, you don't control it. You want to reach that involuntary state where you're breathing without controlling it. And essentially, you want to observe the sensation that the air is bringing. So you focus on the sensation that you're feeling as the warm air touches your lip or as it leaves your nostril. And what happens is that when you're focusing on sensations throughout your body, whether it be your nose, whether it be your hands, whether it be anywhere, you're basically putting your attention away from the analytical part of the brain. This analytical part of the brain is where the mind vibrates at a beta frequency, okay? And this is what you're currently on. You're listening to me, you're analyzing and scrutinizing what I am saying, you're coming up with your own theories and understandings, your own answers, your own interpretations. This is the beta brain frequency, okay? When we're talking back and forth, this is what we're on. When we wake up and we're alert, this is what we're on. In the beta brain frequency, our attention is outside of us, okay? It's very alert. It involves stress. There's an element of stress, even though it may be minuscule. And the reason being is because it's a survival state of mind. Okay, within the beta brain frequency, there's high and low. On a high level of beta brain frequency, we're under stress, we are amped up, maybe our adrenaline is pumping, we are hyper aware. Okay, and this is the brain's mechanism for us to be aware of our surroundings and ultimately survive. Taking our awareness away from this analytical aspect of us, or rather dropping lower than the beta brain frequency onto the alpha, is that we begin to focus inwardly, not outwardly, but inwardly. And this is what we can access through focusing on sensations throughout the body. So by focusing on sensations, we move our attention away from this analytical mind or the intellect. I'm sure you can sit there and I'm sure not even a minute will pass, and you'll start to think. You'll start to hear yourself in your mind. You'll start to be talking and speaking in your language. That's the intellect that you want to move past. Okay, and the way you're going to move past that is by focusing on the slightest sensations throughout your body, whether it's focusing on the tip of your finger. If you could sit there in silence and relax and move your awareness from the tip of your nose to your lip at a needle point sharpness, and just scan your body through different parts, you can come to the point of being able to scan internally, ladies and gents. You can go up and down your spine. You can go all the way to your toes and analyze and feel every single individual toe, okay, from foot to foot. Not only that, you could go up your intestines. You can even scan your heart. And let me tell you, when you scan your heart, when you actually feel what your heart is experiencing, it's not comfortable. Let me tell you what that was like for me. When I scanned my heart, it hurt. It's like a contraction. You know when we get a muscle cramp? That's exactly what it felt like. And if we think about it, that's exactly what the heart is doing. It's a contraction. It's a continuous involuntary contraction. Now, our brain is so advanced that it shuts out that feeling. We don't even feel the heart work unless we put our awareness there. We don't even feel that contraction. And that's the beautiful thing about this mechanism, is that we can experience pain, but the mind will just shut it out. And that's the thing about the heart, or at least that was my personal experience. When I put my awareness there and I scanned it, I was like, holy shit, this is uncomfortable. But that's the truth of the matter, ladies and gents. It literally hurts, and it is literally uncomfortable to be alive. How fascinating is that? Now, the technique, like I said, the intention should be on focusing on sensations. It is challenging. It is extraordinarily challenging, ladies and gents, because when you're sitting there, let's just say for 20 minutes, you sit there for 20 minutes and you're focusing on the air. Of course, your mind is going to start generating thoughts. And you may go this entire an entire 20 meditation session thinking about some nonsense, thinking about what happened at work, thinking about what happened with your siblings or your family or your spouse. And next thing you know, you just wasted 20 minutes. That goes to show how distracted your mind is. And that is the first keynote that I want to touch on. One of the greatest benefits of meditation is the focus that it develops within you. Okay? Meditation will allow you to develop such a focus that you could be reading a book and noise and sounds and music is going off, but you are razor sharp focused on where you're placing your awareness. This is an extraordinarily high level of focus. And the only way you can do so is by applying your mind, by practicing your focus. Okay? When you set your awareness on the sharp or on the slightest sensations of your body, you're working your focus on overdrive. Okay? You're focusing on something that is very challenging to focus on. All right? Now, if you don't have this control, what will happen is that your mind will start to introduce ideas and you'll start to think about the most random things. Nevertheless, ladies and gents, focus is what an individual can develop through meditation. The more you do it, the greater the focus. And now, how does this apply to occult science? When working energy, ladies and gents, your mind, your imagination, and your will and focus is your power. Do not think that you'll be able to channel energy or even wield energy, whether through Reiki practices, whether through healing methods, whether through telepathic communication, whether communicating with spirits. If you do not have the focus, you got a long road ahead. And this is a long road, ladies and gents. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Making time to meditate is absolutely paramount for your own development, for your own mental development. I want to touch on emotional regulation that meditation brings. Emotional regulation essentially is when one gets triggered, we are able to control, or rather transform our feelings. For instance, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example that I often experience. I ride motorcycles. I have an off-road motorcycle, and I love dirt bike riding. Let's just say that there's a rock on the road, and in an instant, boom, I'll dodge it. And right away, my heart is pumping with adrenaline because I almost ate shit. But in a split second, that feeling is gone. And I'm focused on what the road is at. There is no time to dwell on the almost had an accident when you're riding a motorcycle, because there's another obstacle in front of you. And that is the type of focus, that is the type of mental reaction that meditation instills in you. Now, how does this relate off a motorcycle? Let's just say somebody pissed you off. Someone said something that triggered you. Well, if you have that sharpness, you're not going to allow that to bother you. You're not going to dwell on that negative feeling. You'll transform it in a snap of a finger. And that is the power of emotional regulation that you can acquire through meditation. This can apply to all sorts of emotions, and this is what's absolutely paramount if you're seeking to delve into occult practices. You have to master yourself. You have to master your impulsive and animalistic self. You have to surpass this mundane aspect of you if you're wanting to tap into your divine self.